to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Greetings, family, and welcome to another episode of Dr. Mumbi's Spiritual Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray, family, that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life very much on your own terms. You know, today I wanted to talk about the Godfathers of Africa. Not so much the Godfathers, but to remind us that we are not playing in the liberation of our people. And remember, the liberation is mental. We're not trying to free anybody's body. This is just a vehicle. We're trying to free people mentally. We're trying to change up the narrative so that people can get a hold of another narrative that will take them out of the Babylon pit of hell, of poverty, disease, and despair. That's literally all we want for our people on the motherland and our people around the world. And you know, the warfare has always been mental. They conquered us mentally to begin with, and they've made sure that they've kept us in a mental prison. And you know, it's so funny because when you speak to a lot of the Mau Mau revolutionaries, the few that are still alive, they talk about how the revolution was never successful. The revolution continues till today. Even in Kenya, we talk about how the first revolution was against the Mzungu, and then the second revolution was against their puppet masters that they put in place, basically the dictators that took over when Babylon was, you know, had finished and assassinating all our greats, all our revolutionary spirits, all those people who had the ideas of restoring the motherland to its glory. They eliminated all of those, initiated a bunch of fakes, and then they are the Godfathers that have ruled since then. And family, I've talked about this so much. If you've been following me for a while, then you've heard me talk about how Africa is currently controlled by secret societies. Even before the missionaries came, family, even before the so-called British Empire came, even before the French and the Portuguese, the Masons were there. There's lodges in Kenya, in Ghana, that are over 100, if not 200-300 years old, family. They sent their secret societies, and from the secret societies, these men were able to go, and they pretended to be authors and researchers and anthropologists. And they went round and they got all this information about nations, which they now call tribes. And you see, the reason they even call us tribes is because nation is a royal name. It's a royal label. When you call someone a nation, it shows that they have a leader, they have a governmental system, they have an economic system, they have a social order, they have an education order. But when you reduce people to tribes, which is what the Babylonians are, which is what the Akhenatsis were, the ones who came from the caves, family, do your research. They were tribes where, you know, a tribe is simply like a gathering of random families, like a couple of families coming together, and now you're a tribe. You don't have any education system. You don't have any system. You're just together somehow for survival. And so, because many of us have not recognized that the battle has been mental, a lot of us are coming online with that now. We've failed to really conceptualize why these labels were so important, why they demonized our God and demonized our ancestors, and then gave us a label that was so less than what we were. So now they can say Africa has no nations because we're all just tribes. So they'll tell you the South Sudanese tribe and the Kikuyu tribe and the Bantu tribes, trying to make it seem like we're just some barbaric people living in the forest that just came together somehow, some way. That's not the truth. We were nations. We had constitutions. We had a legal system. We had systems for marriage. Every kind of connection, family, whatever, was catered for. There was a resolution system. There were leaders. I mean, I don't know. There was a spiritual. You know, we had our own shrines, our own creator. But what Babylon did is they created these secret societies so that they could always order and control the people in leadership, the people who would tell us who we were. So they made it so important to get like the CEOs of private industries, the army guys, the politicians, the religious guys, all into these secret societies. Hey, Errol. Shout out to Errol. Today's his wash day, so he's all wet. Wasn't very happy to be washed. But anyway, so that they could get all their secret societies, family, to control everything. So they control the judges, they control the legal system. And I've talked about it for so long, about how the Masonic order literally controls everything. And you know what? I didn't even realize the extent of it until I heard from Ron Dalton. He's been trying to bring Hebrews to Negroes to South Africa. He tried in Ghana, and there were so many gatekeepers he couldn't. And so he went to South Africa thinking, all these black-owned companies and all this stuff, that they would advertise for him. He got a major theater. And his surprise was that, he had so many meetings. It's like they were using kind of delay tactics. He had so many meetings where they were like, oh, it's so amazing that you're bringing this important documentary to our people. What do you need? Okay, we'll get back to you in a few days. And then they'd come back and be like, sorry, we can't advertise. Sorry, we can't promote it. Sorry, we can't give you billboards. Sorry, we can't do this. Sorry, we can't do that. And lastly, family, when we had a conversation, we talked about, the street kind of campaigning, and he went out and he got some amazing street marketers, and they went through the streets of Soweto, through the streets of Johannesburg, spread over 20,000 flyers, created such a buzz where people were even talking about how they were just going to show up in solidarity, because this is another revolution, this time a revolution of thought, to think that the Bantus are the chosen ones. Like, a lot of people's minds were totally blown to think we are the original ones. Like, family, the gatekeepers have kept the truth from Africa like crazy. If we didn't have YouTube and all these things, as much as they're the devil's instrument, even more of our people would be asleep. And a lot of us have faced a monumental battle. But anyway, family, after doing this amazing street campaign, Ron Dalton gets a call, and it's like the higher up, I think it's something called Shango or something like that, Incorporated, have canceled your screening, 10 days to the screening, and they've not given us any reason as to why, but we just can't air your stuff, and we'll try and find out what's happening. So when Ron went deeper, he found out that the mother company of this theater in Johannesburg, which happens to be centrally located, so it would get the bougie folk, it would get the, hustlers, it would get everybody, a really good mix of our people. When he did some more research, he found out that actually the mother company, the person who was in charge of the mother company, happened to be a quote-unquote Russian Jew. I didn't even know there were Russian Jews. But anyway, those are stories for other days, family. And they've totally blocked him regardless. I don't know if they're going to give him back his money. They're not giving him any reason. And it's like they got a call. And what I keep saying is this is the perfect example of how Africa is not free. We are not free, family, because they will do anything. They will go to any lengths to maintain the old story of who we are, to keep us from knowing ourselves. As I mentioned in a previous show, can you imagine during Charles's coronation, all the major channels in Kenya were airing that bullshit? Excuse my French, I never swear. They were airing that nonsense, and of course people tuned out, because now, we have Netflix, we have whatever, we can tune into whatever we want. We don't have to tune. That's not the only, it's not like the 80s when the television was the only thing, and here in Kenya we only had like 1 or 2 channels, so we'd have been stuck watching the so-called coronation. But Africa, we are not free because we don't control our narrative. And there are hidden godfathers who control what information comes to us and what information doesn't come to us, which should make us question why Wakanda is promoted so heavily. Why the Woman King, which I still haven't seen till this day, is promoted. What agenda? Because they would rather give you Wakanda and the Woman King and block out Hebrew to Negroes. So what is the agenda? And the sad thing is, there was actually people on another platform, unawakened, who was celebrating the struggles our brother is going through for trying to bring an alternative narrative to our people. At the very least, this will make people question. That's all we need for our people. Our people are in such a deep religious psychosis that if we do not fight this on the level of spirituality, we're wasting our times. We might as well go into our off-grid communities and wait it out and live our best lives there, live our best lives on our private islands and shit. We think it's so simple and easy to liberate Africa, the most important continent on this mama earth, the game changer. We think it's so easy, family. And yet the enemies of our soul have plans 50 years ahead, 100 years ahead. You can hear. This machine has not been here for weeks, which is why I recorded at the shrine. And I don't know how loud it is on the microphone, but it is so loud here. Babylon understands controlling the energetic and atmospheric reality, but our people seem a bit slow. They don't understand it. And that's why so many of our people are getting ready to perish for lack of knowledge, family. Of course, Ron Dalton is not giving up. He is looking for a new venue. He is looking to question why it was cancelled, because they have to give legal proof because they took his money. And we will be sharing a new date. For now, the tentative date is June 11th at the Soweto Theatre. But the only thing with the Soweto Theatre is it's not as central. And so it will cut out a lot of our people. But family, I hope this helps you understand and understand why Babylon doesn't care about anything but the narrative. Their most powerful weapon are their CNNs and their BBCs of this world, which consistently feed us their story and feed us their agenda so that we fund it energetically. But those are stories for other days. Stay uplifted. Stay informed, family. Stay alert. Tuko pamoja.